Welcome back to the Sports Renegades here on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky.
And, yes, we're going to talk about some baseball now. The hot stove is ready to go, and, it should be an exciting off-season.
Right, the winter meetings are coming up, and
it's always an exciting time.
Right, with the anticipation of a lot of excitement, we've compiled 3 moves that we would like to see the Cubs make. However, we excluded Shohei Ohtani
because every team is in on him.
Because if you do not want him, you should stop watching baseball. Every team wants him, so we excluded him from this list because obviously we would love if he came to the Cubs.
Yes. So these are trades / free agent signings / re-signings / whatever we think is a good fit for the Cubs. So I guess you can go first.
All right. I'll start with my number 3, and that's signing relief pitcher Brian Shaw.
Okay.
From the Indians.
Yes, the guy from the Indians.
In his career in the postseason, he's thrown 22 innings, and he's compiled a 2.45 ERA. And you need those guys that can pitch in the postseason.
Yeah, well, if there's one thing that we learned, the Cubs do need bullpen help, no question about it. So, yeah,
and this guy has proven
smart
success. You might have to give him a 4-year deal in order to bring him over, except he's been very good. He threw 76 innings last year, had a 3.52 ERA.
And we don't know, necessarily if Wade Davis is going to be here or not, because he is a free agent. So
right, and I think Shaw would be cheaper than Davis.
True. I would like them to maybe keep Davis, but yeah, it all depends on how much it is.
Right.
I'd be okay with that.
We were given 3 moves, 3 moves that we wanted to see him make. Obviously, you'd like to see him keep Davis.
Right. Okay. Mine isn't really in a particular order, but I would like to see the Cubs re-sign Jake Arrieta. That's just something I personally would like to see. It's especially because if there's guys like they're trying to go in on, maybe like on Yu Darvish or something, I would honestly rather have Jake Arrieta than a guy like Yu Darvish. So that's just I don't know if they're going to be able to re-sign him, but I think they should definitely try, and I think it would be pretty smart.
Right, I think everyone would like, it'd be great if Arrieta came back. There really, if you look at the free agent market for the next couple of years, there isn't anybody that I would feel better about, waiting on than Jake Arrieta. And obviously his postseason success, I think, is a big factor. He is 3-0 in elimination games.
Yeah,
that's
huge.
That's huge. He had the complete game shutout in the 2015 wild card game against the Pirates.
Completely dominated them.
Game 6 of the World Series, Cubs down 3-2 in Cleveland. Goes and throws 5 2/3 innings, gets the win. Addison Russell hits a grand slam. Cubs win that game and go on to win the World Series. And that's key because they were down 3-2. They're on the road in the World Series, and they were able to pick up that win.
Yeah, he was just able to set the tone, and there you go. And then, also a Bryant home run in the first inning didn't hurt either. But
right, and then obviously last year, down 3-0 to the Dodgers, he comes in, throws 6 2/3 innings of really tremendous baseball. Cubs win 3-2. They go on lose the next day, and they lose in 5 games, except he kept the season alive, and he got a really nice ovation when he walked off the mound.
And, of course, when you look at the free agent starting pitchers that are available this offseason, you have Yu Darvish, Jake Arrieta, and you have Lance Lynn really are the 3 main ones, at least, that I can think of off the top of my head anyway. So, I think, that would be one of my moves for the Cubs to make.
Right, and my next one, I'm going to say sign Alex Cobb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He worked with Jim Hickey. He's played with Joe Madden. Obviously, they like him. It seems like he would want to play here if he was offered a contract. He said, he had great things to say about the team. He had great things to say about Joe Madden and Jim Hickey. And I think he'd be a real nice guy to fill in for Lackey. You could probably get him on a 4-year deal in the $65 to $70 million range, which I think is pretty fair for him. A guy that could probably be a really good number 3 starter. Obviously, coming to the National League, his numbers might improve a little.
Yeah. I think I think that's pretty smart. And sticking with the Tampa Bay kind of theme, I think the Cubs. I think they're going to do this. I think they're definitely going to trade somebody like Kyle Schwarber for a Tampa Bay pitcher. I just feel like that's going to happen. I know there's been a lot of talk about it. Whether it be Archer or Odorizzi or something like that. I think Schwarber will not be a Cub in 2018. So I think they're going to trade for a Tampa Bay pitcher. And Schwarber would be the main piece in that.
Any other potential pieces you'd throw in there to try to get Archer or Odorizzi?
I feel like they probably wouldn't part with Baez. I think Ian Happ would be another possibility for somebody to trade. But I think the main piece will be Schwarber, and I think a lot of American League teams will be interested in a guy like Schwarber. I mean, he's been a proven hitter. I do like him, and he's a fan favorite, no doubt about it. And he was able to hit 30 home runs last year, while his average was not good at all. So, I think, although in the second half it was much better, but I think that would be smart because the Cubs can hit, no doubt about it, and I just think they need to shore up the pitching.
Right, and the one thing that the Cubs have working against them in regards to their position players is now the majority of them only have 4 or less years of control remaining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of them I think are done or most of them 2021.
Yeah, so that's the thing that's working against them that maybe they from a couple of years ago in Tampa Bay might not like that some of them. That's what would make Ian Happ much more attractable would be the fact that he has 6 years of control left.
Right.
Now, on the contrary, I don't think Schwarber is getting traded.
Okay, I can understand that too, because I know Theo really likes him, and he is a good player. I don't really see the need for someone who doesn't really play every day to be on the team. He's technically the starting left fielder, but he doesn't play every day.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think Schwarber is going to have a monster season. He's going to have a monster comeback season. I think the average will get back up, 260-ish. He'll still hit 30, 35 home runs. Mm-hmm. And he's right now he's working on a transformation for his body. Probably to try to make him more fit to play left field. Staying strong, and I honestly would like to see how he looks with Chili Davis, see how he can help develop him, try to get him back on track, get that average up, because he still walked a lot, and he had a lot of home runs, it's just he was striking out a lot and not making enough hard contact, and I'm actually interested to see how Chili Davis makes him look, because I think this is the year that Schwarber comes through. Have a big year.
Well, if he's still on the Cubs, I would certainly hope so.
I personally, I honestly feel very, very confident that he's not going to be traded.
Okay, yeah, I could definitely say
that's just my opinion.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely see what happens. There might not be a lot of moves made. Who knows?
Right, that's why I tried to limit it to 3, because you're only going to make so many moves. It's not like they have to blow this up. No. They just need to add pieces, and really its majority is on the pitching staff, and that's why my last move is re-signing Jake Arrieta.
Yes.
For all the reasons I listed earlier. Honestly, I want them to. I really think that, really, if you can go into the next season with your rotation consisting of Hendricks, Quintana, Lester, Arrieta, and Alex Cobb. That's 5 right there that you feel really good about. And then obviously, you're going to have to add to the bullpen. Hopefully re-sign Wade Davis. I think Brian Shaw would be a great addition to the bullpen.
Yeah.
I know there was rumor that they were in talks with the Orioles about Zach Britton. However, the Orioles team president said today that he thinks there's a very high chance that Britton will be on the opening day roster.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they end up what the Orioles end up doing anyway, right. Because that's a team that's still a decent team, but there's a lot of they could be in prime position
right.
to go and blow that up. I don't know. We'll see what kind of happens with that. Okay, my third move, I couldn't really think of one necessarily, but I think it would be nice to sign Chris Bryant to a big contract eventually. I know that I don't know if that's going to happen like right now or whatever, but I think that would definitely be something to consider. Just because he has a couple years left on the contract he's on now, but I think signing him to a huge contract would kind of solidify that he's here, and then maybe also solidify the fact that Bryce Harper could come to the Cubs next offseason.
I mean, obviously it'd be like you'd like him to get that mega deal, except I don't think it's necessary yet. They have him.
No, it's not necessary yet.
They have him for 4 more years.
Right.
They have him for 4 more years, and Scott Boras won't let one of his clients sign a contract like that 4 years prior to free agency unless it only covered these 4 arbitration years.
Right.
I think if they do re-sign him, it'll be in the year before or a couple years before he hits free agency. And obviously Harper it's a realistic option that he could come to the Cubs next year. Obviously, first they'd probably have to unload Jason Hayward unless they move Harper to left and then trade Schwarber for pitching after he has a big year. See, and then that's the thing with Schwarber is I don't want to trade him right now specifically because I'm pretty confident he's going to be a really good big league player, and teams would be trying to buy low on him. And if he has a big year, then he's gonna have much more trade value, and then they probably would have an easier time trying to get pitching in return.
Right. I was just thinking if if they're gonna trade for a pitcher from Tampa Bay, whether it be Archer or Odorizzi, or I don't know who else is on that staff besides Cobb, who's a free agent, but I think I think it would be. I was trying to think who would they have to trade and to make that deal complete, and I just think Schwarber is probably the most likely of those people to be traded, but it could be Baez or Addison Russell. I don't really know. Addison Russell had some injury problems last year, and I mean was not so good, so that could be a possibility too if they were to make a trade with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, there's the very, very real possibility that they don't trade any of their position players.
Right.
They might just keep everyone. And obviously, if you sign Alex Cobb, maybe re-sign one of Arrieta or Davis, maybe make a minor bullpen move like an Koji Uehara signing, just a guy on a 1-year deal that could fill a role, in the bullpen, because they obviously do need some help.
Yeah. Now I don't know if I know that there's a lot of people who want John Jay back too, but I just don't
it sounds like he's signing with the Mariners.
Yeah, I don't know.
And the thing is, there's just not going to be enough room for Jay because you still got Schwarber and Happ that'll probably split time in left field. Almora
is your starting center field,
right? And he was showing very good signs of improvement against right-handed pitching towards the end of the year.
He was the only one hitting in the playoffs, really consistently. So
right. Yeah. And with Almora, he was starting to hit right-handed pitching better. His defense is solid. And I think adding Chili Davis as the hitting coach will only help his development go a little smoother, maybe a little quicker with the bat in terms of hitting for average against both right-handed pitching and left-handed pitching because we know he can hit lefties. And I think Chili Davis is going to help him maybe tap into a little more power as well.
Yeah,
and then you still have Jason Hayward in right field,
right.
Your Gold Glove defender.
I just think overall, I think it was really smart because obviously there was some issues with the coaching staff that they had. I think because otherwise they wouldn't do a complete overhaul like they did. But yeah, I think a lot of the moves that they made was smart. I think getting Hickey as the pitching coach was pretty smart. I mean, I like Chris Bosio, we all did, but obviously maybe him and Madden didn't get along. Maybe
there was a little fracture in the relationship, and the thing is it seemed to me like with the moves of firing Melee and Gary Jones, it wasn't more of that they wanted to fire them. It was more of who was available to replace them. And we know Chili Davis is regarded as one of the best hitting coaches.
Yeah.
And, so it was more of because they were available, they needed to make the move. Otherwise, they would have kept John Melee. Because otherwise, if they were just ready to move on, those guys would have been fired with Chris Bosio. They were fired I think a week after Bosio.
Yeah, it was like a week after.
And I think it's too bad. And I think Detroit's going to have a pretty good coaching